when a farmer discovers odd black eggs on his land. He can't figure out what creature left them behind. He decides to keep a close eye on them, and when they finally crack open, he gets so shocked that tears begin rolling down his cheeks. Farmer Thomas had always wanted to build a great egg business. His property, sitting in a lovely valley in Georgia, had been in his family for many years. Unfortunately, recent times had been very hard for him. What once was a busy farm was now barely getting by. The high price of feed for his animals, stronger competition from nearby farms, and less demand for his ordinary brown and white eggs had really damaged his income. So, when he suddenly discovered 12 black eggs scattered across his property, he was so shocked that he just froze in place for nearly 10 minutes. He had never laid eyes on or even heard of eggs like this before. None of his hens had ever produced anything similar. For a second, he wondered if they might be snake eggs, and slowly scanned the surrounding area, looking for any slithering animals in the tall grass. But it looked like whatever had dropped these eggs had already moved on and left them behind. Farmer Thomas couldn't decide what to think. On one hand, these weird eggs might hold dangerous creatures that he'd need to battle to protect his home later. But on the other hand, they might be just what his farm required to succeed again. Customers might be willing to spend extra money for these eggs if it made their morning meals more exciting. And perhaps they would also spend more for the chicken meat, especially around spooky holidays like Halloween. He could become wealthy if these eggs turned into more black chickens, unless somebody else showed up to claim them first. Thomas wasn't someone who took things that didn't belong to him, but these eggs were sitting on his property, and he was simply too interested to leave them outside where anyone could spot them. So he muttered a quiet sorry to whatever animal had laid them and started loading them into his pickup truck. He would put them in a special incubator he owned at the farm and wait for them to crack open and reveal what was hiding inside. During the following days, Thomas observed the eggs very carefully and adjusted the heat and humidity levels just right, so they would feel the same comfort they would get from a brooding hen. Each morning he would check on them, and his heart felt excited when he saw the sleek black shells still unbroken. He let himself dream about what unusual creatures would soon emerge from them. Would they be solid black as well? During peaceful moments, Thomas thought about all the buzz these special eggs could bring. He pictured crowds rushing to his farm, everyone wanting to spend big money to see pure black chickens. But even though he was thrilled, Thomas remained cautious. He understood there was still plenty of time to wait before the eggs would open. The days turned into weeks as Thomas anxiously waited for the black eggs to crack. The expected hatching day arrived and passed with no movement. Each day, Thomas examined the incubator frantically, hoping to spot breaks in the shells or hear the gentle chirping of newborn chicks, but the eggs remained silent and motionless. It seemed like their dark shells were mocking his dreams. Tension built up inside Thomas as the days continued going by without any activity. The longer he waited, the more he began to question himself. Had he been wrong to bring these eggs into his house? What if they weren't chicken eggs at all? Could he have accidentally put his entire farm at risk? Fear took over him, slowly eating away at his faith. Thomas's everyday schedule had turned into a never-ending loop of back-breaking labor and stress. He woke up before dawn broke, beginning each morning by checking the heat and moisture in the incubator. Even though his nervousness was increasing, he tried to stay positive. He convinced himself that these puzzling eggs were a blessing from fortune rather than a warning of trouble ahead. After tending to the eggs, Thomas moved on to his other farming duties. He fed and watered his chickens, scrubbed their coops, and gathered the regular brown and white eggs. The farm was still struggling, and the burden of maintaining it weighed heavily on his shoulders. Every task felt more difficult, and his concern about the black eggs cast a shadow over all his activities. One chilly morning, Thomas awoke feeling unusually tired. His head pounded terribly and his body burned with sickness. He attempted to continue working despite feeling awful, but it soon became obvious that he was too ill to handle his everyday tasks. The never-ending stress and sleepless nights had exhausted him, leaving him trapped in bed and unable to care for the farm. Days blended together as Thomas lay bedridden, his thoughts fuzzy with fever. The farm, which used to buzz with life, started to look abandoned. Weeds sprouted everywhere, the chicken coops became filthy, and the feed bins began to empty. The regular egg-laying decreased as Thomas's missing presence affected the animals. The tight-knit community surrounding Thomas's farm started to see the differences. Neighbors whispered softly to each other, concerned about the farm that once thrived but was now crumbling. Mark, Thomas's longtime friend and neighbor, was the first to take action. He chose to visit the farm and find out if Thomas needed assistance. When he approached the farmhouse, he noticed the signs of abandonment and realized something was seriously wrong. Mark banged on the door and discovered Thomas in a frail state, barely able to stand up. Recognizing how critical the situation had become, Mark immediately stepped in. "Don't stress about anything, Thomas," Mark said confidently. "I'll handle the farm while you recover. You just focus on resting and getting your energy back." Mark put in tremendous effort. He cared for the chickens, washed their coops, and ensured the animals had feed, and he even asked other neighbors to pitch in to keep the farm operating. However, because he was so ill, Thomas forgot to mention the mysterious eggs in the incubator, and before long Mark and the other neighbors would experience the shock of their lives. One evening, as Mark was wrapping up the day's chores, he heard a soft peeping noise coming from the chicken coop. His heart raced as he rushed inside carrying a flashlight. He searched through the rows of nests. The sound grew stronger, and eventually he reached the incubator and spotted movement inside one of the black eggs. He was stunned by what he witnessed and questioned where Thomas had possibly found such bizarre eggs. Mark sprinted back to the farmhouse to inform his friend that the mysterious eggs in his incubator were beginning to hatch. "Thomas, you're not going to believe this, but those strange black eggs are cracking open," Mark shouted excitedly as he rushed through the door. "What in the world could be inside them?" Mark asked aloud. Thomas simply shook his head, telling his friend, "I really don't know yet, but maybe this is the blessing I've been hoping for." Despite his frail condition, his eyes sparkled with excitement. Maybe this was going to be the breakthrough he desperately needed. As he recovered, Thomas shared with Mark the complete tale about the mysterious black eggs, from discovering them initially to the restless nights he spent fearing they might bring ruin to his farm. He felt thankful to have his friend supporting him now that the eggs were finally beginning to open. If something terrible emerged, they would help him deal with it, but if something wonderful resulted from them, they would all rejoice together. 2 days later, Thomas was healthy enough to leave his bed. He and Mark crouched beside the incubator, their faces pressed close to the hatching eggs. Then the first baby chick broke free. Sorry for the interruption. Before we continue with the story, I kindly ask you to like the video and subscribe to this channel. It is very important for us. Thank you very much. Both men felt much better when they saw that the creatures in the eggs were actually birds, but their relief quickly changed to excitement when they saw what the baby bird looked like. Its feathers were a glossy black that gleamed in the low light. The baby bird opened its eyes and made a small, proud peeping noise. One by one, the other eggs started to crack open. Each baby bird was incredible, with sleek black feathers and bright, interested eyes. Watching them hatch was amazing to see. The baby birds pushed and worked hard to get out of their shells, showing a power that made them think of Thomas's own fight. He watched, totally absorbed, as the final baby bird managed to break out. Mark quickly grabbed his phone and started searching for information online. Thomas, I think these could be Ayam Shamani baby chickens, he said at last, his voice trembling with feeling. Thomas stared at him, puzzled. He had never heard of Ayam Semani baby chickens before. Chuckling, Mark told him, "These chickens from Indonesia are incredibly rare and worth a lot of money because everything about them is completely black. Their eyes, beak, feathers, even their bones. Their eggs can sell for amazing amounts of cash." He was also certain that people would pay money just to see the chickens. "I can't understand how these eggs got to your farm, but I'm confident they're going to fix all your financial troubles," Mark said with a huge grin. Right then, Thomas's emotions took over. Tears came to his eyes and he let them fall. He had struggled so much and sacrificed so many things, and now, at last, he was holding the hope of a brighter future in his hands. Seeing the Ayam Samani baby chickens, so unusual and so gorgeous, gave him tremendous comfort and happiness. He cried without hiding it, his tears dropping onto the hay-covered floor. The reality of what was happening was sinking in. His farm had been close to falling apart, but luck had given it a chance to make it. The black eggs had finally opened, beginning a new part of Thomas's farm story. Word about the hatching moved fast through the town. People who had helped Thomas when he was sick came to the farm to see the amazing baby chickens. They were blown away by the Ayam Samani. Their totally black feathers and incredible appearance made everyone gasp in awe. Thomas's new confidence wasn't just about the money. It was about the goal he had nearly given up on and the passion he had poured into his efforts. The Ayam Samani baby chickens meant a new start, a way to fix things and expand. As he watched the baby chickens check out their new home and peck at the hay, Thomas felt a happiness he hadn't felt in years. Over the next few days, he lovingly looked after the baby chickens. It was really important to give them the finest care possible. He made a special space for them, with warming lights and clean bedding. He kept records about how they grew, writing down notes on their development and actions. Their sleek black feathers gleamed in the sunshine, and their interested, active personalities brought fresh life to the farm. But soon, Thomas started to see something amazing about these baby chickens. Their unique traits went way beyond their beautiful looks. The baby chickens were surprisingly tough and well. They did great in situations that would be hard for other kinds of chickens. They got bigger and stronger faster than Thomas had thought they would, and showed a durability that set them apart. Their feathers weren't simply black, but had a colorful glow. When the light caught them perfectly, they shimmered with touches of green and purple. It was like they had a bit of wonder in their feathers. Thomas carefully recorded these things he noticed. He understood that his Ayam Samani group was special, even for their uncommon type. Their excellence and scarcity made them possibly very worth a lot. News about the amazing baby chickens traveled fast and caught interest from way beyond the nearby town. One day, Thomas had a visitor from a man who introduced himself as Mr. Thompson. He was a rich investor with a big interest in rare and unusual kinds of animals. Mr. Thompson had learned about Thomas's Ayam Samani baby chickens and really wanted to see them for himself. Mr. Thompson was right away amazed by seeing the Ayam Samani. He loved their special beauty and saw their excellent health and power. He looked at Thomas, his eyes bright with excitement. "These baby chickens are incredible," he said. "I've never seen anything exactly like them." Thomas felt really proud. He agreed that they were amazing and told him that he'd put everything into caring for them. Mr. Thompson nodded seriously. "I can tell," he said. "I think these birds have huge possibilities, not just for making more of them, but also for attracting special buyers that appreciate their rarity and beauty enough to pay top dollar. I'd like to make you a deal." Thomas's heart pounded as Mr. Thompson shared his idea. He was ready to put money into Thomas's farm, giving the financial help needed to grow and make operations better. In exchange, Mr. Thompson wanted a part of the future, money from the Samani sales and breeding plans. The deal was good and would make Thomas's money situation secure. Most importantly, it would make sure the farm stayed stable and grew. Thomas listened closely and considered the offer. This was the chance he had been hoping for. It was an opportunity to not only rescue his farm, but to watch it do well beyond his biggest hopes. With a strong handshake, Thomas said yes to the deal. "You've got yourself an agreement, Mr. Thompson," Thomas said with relief in his voice. A burden came off his back. The partnership with Mr. Thompson meant that his Samani baby chickens would bring wealth and fame to his farm. But the story wasn't finished yet. One bright day, as Thomas was caring for the group, he saw something odd about one of the baby chickens. It was a little larger than the others, and its feathers had an even more obvious, colorful glow. Interested, Thomas chose to look more closely. He carefully checked the baby chicken. Its eyes were a bright blue color, different from the dark eyes of the other Samani. Thomas's heart jumped as he realized he might have found something really incredible. He quickly called a scientist who knew about chickens to check the baby chicken. The scientist came and ran several tests. The results were wonderful. The baby chicken had a rare genetic difference that made its already amazing features even better. This difference not only made it even more visually beautiful, but also gave it more strength and a quicker growth speed. The baby chicken was basically a perfect example of the Samani type. Its qualities were unbeatable. Word of the incredible baby chicken spread fast. People who collected chickens, breeders, and fans all wanted to see and maybe buy the bird. The interest went sky high. Offers poured in, each one bigger than the one before. Finding this special genetic difference made sure that Thomas's farm would stay at the top of the rare chicken business for many years ahead. With the worth and interest in his Samani baby chickens clearly proven, Thomas's long-term success and the farm's future were certain. Every day he would stand in the chicken building, watching the beautiful birds peck at the dirt, as a deep feeling of contentment washed over him. Despite everything working against him, he had not only rescued his farm, but made it into a sign of hope and success. With the worth and interest in his Samani baby chickens clearly proven, Thomas's long-term success and the farm's future were certain. Every day he would stand in the chicken building, watching the beautiful birds peck at the dirt, as a deep feeling of contentment washed over him. Despite everything working against him, he had not only rescued his farm but made it into a sign of hope and success. Did you like this story? If you ever found strange black eggs on your land, would you keep them or just leave them there? Tell us what you think in the comments below. If you like the story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. Sometimes taking a risk with something mysterious can bring unexpected good things into your life. Thank you for listening, and see you in the next video. Have a wonderful day.